Good afternoon. Let's call the meeting to order. It's 1:30, Oklahoma City Board of Adjustment. Looks like we got a quorum. Here we go. Agenda call to order. Next item is the minutes.
Motion to receive the meeting minutes from the September 21st, 2023 meeting.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. All right. All right, next item, Cindy, the continuance requests and withdrawals.
We have item number 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, which are all being deferred to 11/2/23. They're case number 15171, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, we're located at 631 West California Avenue.
Anybody here on those items? Okay, I guess we're ready for a motion then.
Motion to defer the case numbers 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 to the November 2nd, 2023 meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to defer. Cast your votes. All right, those items are deferred. Do we have any requests for continuance from the public? Anybody here? I don't have a consent docket, so Cindy, if you'll start us, please.
We have item number 1, case number 15462, request of Karen King on behalf of WAK Holdings for a variance to minimum lot size requirements in the AA Agricultural District located at 3901 South Anderson Road.
Is the applicant here? Karen, come on up. Give us your name and address and tell us a little bit about your application.
My name is Karen King. My address is 14401 Southeast 104th in Newalla. Do you need my zip code?
Pardon?
Do you need my zip code?
No.
Okay. These two lots are currently 1.81 acres and 4.62 acres. I'm really just trying to do a lot line adjustment and make them an equal 3.25 acres for each lot. And they are zoned agriculture, but every lot around there is also agriculture, and they're all less than 5 acres. And it already is, both of them are both under 5.
Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody who wants to address this application? Okay, I guess we're ready for a motion then.
Motion to approve case number 15462 for the purposes that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Cast your votes. You're approved.
Thank you. Thanks for
Item
putting me
number
first
2,
on the
case number 15458 is an appeal of WBFB Law on behalf of Verona LLC on the decision of the Historic Preservation Commission regarding the denial of case number HCPA 23-83 located at 324 Northwest 26th Street.
Good afternoon. David Box, 522 Colcord Drive, here on behalf of the applicant. Ms. Caitlin Turner is also here, and we're going to be kind of taking different pieces of this. So what I want to talk to you briefly about is what your role is in this case. So you as the Board of Adjustment have a few roles. In the last few years, you've become the Home Sharing Committee, but you still have those roles as a committee that hears variances, special exceptions, but you also sit as a tribunal to hear appeals from lower boards and commissions, like HP, DDRC, and all of those. When you are sitting as the appellate board, you are hearing the case de novo. And why that's important is because I know there is a sentiment that another board or commission made a decision, and therefore we should respect it, or we should give some sort of deference to it. Well, I'm here to tell you that that would be improper for you to give any deference to. I don't want you to believe me, so I'm going to read you the definition of de novo from the Black's Law Dictionary. De novo, trying a matter anew, the same as if it had not been heard before and as if no decision had previously rendered. So whatever happened at the HP Commission has absolutely no relevance. I know my friend Ms. Friddle's going to get to the podium perhaps and explain what was said and why it was said. None of that matters. You are here today hearing this as if nothing has ever happened until this moment in time. So your role here is to hear it anew, again, as if nothing has ever happened before. Who cares what happened at the HP Commission? You have several options. You can reverse the decision, you can affirm the decision, or you can modify the decision. And I think Ms. Turner is going to kind of present you a few options of things that would be possible to modify. So you have three separate things you can do, but you are hearing this as if you were the HP Commission to interpret and apply guidelines. The key word there is guidelines. They're not regulations, they're not ordinances, they are guidelines. They are suggestions. And if you're a driver like me, that means it's like a yellow light. You kind of get to decide what you want to do or not do. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have as to your role. I know Mr. Voorhees has sat through many appeals in his multiple tenures as a Board of Adjustment member. But if there's no questions on process, I'll turn it over to Ms. Turner.
Caitlin Turner, 522 Colcord Drive, here on behalf of the applicant. So I'll kind of go through a little bit of what was discussed at the last Board of Adjustment hearing, just so we are reminded of all the ins and outs of this application. It's on Northwest 26th Street. And Sarah, do you mind going to just the front view of the house, the subject property? There we go. Okay, so what you all are going to ultimately be voting on today is first, it's going to be the concrete border that's on the side of the front stairway leading to the front walkway. It's also going to be the concrete border that comes down that front walkway that's on the sides of the gravel, and then the tile on the front porch. We also included in this application the landscaped, or the concrete border on the landscaping that was approved conditionally, that we get a site plan that shows how it would be tapered in the event that that concrete on the sides were removed. So we would ask that that just be approved rather than approved with the condition that we go back in with the site plan. So first and foremost, again, the landscape buffer that was approved with the condition, the front sidewalk concrete there, that's really more to hold in that gravel and the lighting rather than to expand the sidewalk. As you can see, you can't walk on the sides there. It solely is to add that aesthetic, add an extra modification to kind of bring to light this home. And I had spoken briefly, last hearing that this house had suffered from a fire, and the applicants have been working to continuously improve the structure of it, and then the facade, and including some other improvements to provide what really is an asset to the street. So nothing that you're voting on today really has to do with the actual structure of the home. It's all going to be those aesthetic additions on the front. So again, that concrete border really to hold in the aesthetic from the gravel and the lit pathway. And when it comes to the porch, that has been talked about at length. I will say that Triton contractors, they're a construction contractors in Oklahoma City, they did go out and assess the front porch to determine whether there is anything wrong with the foundation or whether it would need to be completely redone at some point. They determined that it was sound, that it did not need to be completely replaced. So the issue with the porch really was that there was that wear and tear, the chip away on the front, or on the top, excuse me, of the porch and those stairs. That led to cracks, that led to safety issues, water pooling on that front porch. So this tile that they've gone in with and they have laid here, it was laid with a modified latex thin set, which really acts as a more permanent measure than just pouring new concrete again on top of old concrete, which really wouldn't adhere. You would be dealing with the same issues not far down the line. So the alternate option that they did go with provides more longevity for the porch. It's safer, it is more aesthetically pleasing, and it is just a longer lasting way to keep that porch there. Similarly with the sidewalks, or excuse me, the stairs. So really, that is just a better alternative for keeping the porch there. Everything else that's been done to the front has been approved. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all have. Again, emphasizing that the HP guidelines are in fact guidelines rather than regulations. The determination that the porch is structurally sound and does not need to be completely replaced. And the fact also that there are, something we spoke on last time, there are houses just along this street alone, after a precursory overview, that do have extreme modifications that are completely out of line with a lot of the historic guidelines and regs and things of that nature. Just across the street from this one, if you can go to the Exhibit A of the while she's going to that, you can see that there's going to be that expanded sidewalk at the turfed porch, vast modifications. There's also tile on some stairs to the east of this property. So I also want to touch on these. I understand that they did not seek approval for these modifications and changes to their homes. It's unfortunate that although we are having to come back after the fact to mitigate and seek those approvals and get those entitlements from the city, that this is something that's continuing to get pushed and continued and punished really for trying to do the right thing. It does kind of de-incentivize whenever you're trying to bring your house more into compliance with these overlay districts. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all have. Again, we're looking at the concrete on the front stairs and the front walkway, as well as the tile on the porch, and a straight approval, no conditions, no administrative approval for the concrete border around the landscaping.
Questions, comments from the board?
I'd just like to hear from HP. See.
Okay, Katie, please.
Katie Friddle, I'm staff to the HP Commission in the Planning Department, and on the comment about the guidelines, they are adopted by City Council. They go through the same process as an ordinance amendment. So, yes, they're standards and guidelines. They have shoulds and shalls. I'll defer to Rita on maybe clarifying any questions about the teeth within the guidelines, but staff doesn't make them up on a whim. They do go through a pretty extensive development and review and adoption process. We discussed this 2 weeks ago, so I know most of you heard this, but I'll just couple of key points. I think the thing about which we have the most clear language in the guidelines and in preservation practice in general is the front porch. Guidelines say preserve existing historic front porches, canopies, portico shares, balconies, and their components because they are character-defining features of a building. It says preserve and maintain original or historic porch floors, such as wood, concrete, or tile. Do not paint, stain, or cover original porch floors with wall-to-wall or glued-down carpet or other surface materials. There really is no aesthetic or structural or maintenance reason for applying tile to a front porch. We have historic concrete porches all over HP, all over Oklahoma City. They deteriorate over time, just like any other concrete does or other building materials, and the appropriate treatment is to pour new concrete over the deteriorated concrete if it's at a level that can be done, or to rebuild the porch if that's necessary. But in any case, along that spectrum, it's to go back with the same historic material so that you maintain that historic appearance and that historic fabric. That's the one where the commission, I think, felt very strongly that there just wasn't a unique circumstance to justify applying a patterned tile to the concrete front porch. We have other guidelines regarding landscape edging, regarding preservation of historic sidewalks and other paving throughout the districts that also led to the decision not to support the concrete along the front walkway and at the front porch steps. I'm happy to answer any other questions you have about that, but
Do we know, and I thought I read it in the materials, before the house burned, was there tile on the porch?
no.
Okay.
And I noted at the previous meeting, but the two other structures that were included in the attachments that have tile, we know that that work was done between 2020 and 2021 and was neither reported to code enforcement nor approved through a certificate of appropriateness. So they didn't get approval. They also haven't been cited for it. That's something that perhaps someone in this room might want to turn in, since it's work that is outstanding and it's in violation. There was one other house that was shown that I don't know the address for, and I can't tell you when that work was done. But, unfortunately, we do have examples throughout districts and throughout the city of work that's been done without the proper approvals and permits. And that's just a matter of people being diligent and reporting things.
Any other questions or comments for Katie?
Real quickly, was this case brought to you by complaint, or what was the reason how it came to you?
So they initially applied for a home sharing special exception, and it was brought to staff and neighbors' attention that there was quite a bit of work that had been undertaken without a certificate of appropriateness when we started reviewing the home share. And I can't tell you off the top of my head if any of it had also been reported outside of that process, but that was the main thing that when the home share came to the public's attention, to the commission's attention, people looked and said, oh, there's quite a bit of work that's gone on here that has not been approved. And much of that was approved administratively. Other items were approved by the HP Commission. These were just the remaining items that did not get approved.
Is someone currently living in the home, or you're going to start putting, you tell me what's going on?
Yeah, definitely. So they are no longer seeking a special exception. This will no longer operate as an Airbnb. So they'll either move into this home or do a standard long-term lease agreement for this property. So one less application you all will have to hear. But yeah, not currently occupied.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
If I may go ahead and follow up to some of, unless you all have questions for Ms. Friddle, just to emphasize one section of one of the guidelines that was quoted, and I'll repeat that now. It does say to preserve and maintain original or historic porch floors, such as wood, concrete, or tile. Something that I had emphasized last time was that tile is a contemplated material within the guidelines, and again, it just does provide for that alternative whenever the other option is to just pour concrete over the top, which these same issues are going to repeat and happen over and over and over again. It will continue to crack, it will continue to pool, it will continue to cause a safety concern without an alternative, more permanent option, such as the tile with that latex modified thin set that adheres it to the porch.
And I'll just clarify that when the guidelines say to preserve a historic material, they mean the historic material at that site that is currently in place. The historic door on that house, the historic brick on that wall, the historic flooring material that is present at that site, not to substitute other materials that may exist throughout historic properties. And that's terminology that's used throughout the guidelines and that is consistently interpreted that way by the commission.
I guess it's kind of confusing for me because whenever you have what, the staff and HP wants you to do versus what is going to be a more viable long-term option, I don't understand why you would go with the short term that's going to continue to need repair over and over and over again until you eventually just have to try to continue to seek approval for a long-term solution that's not going to have these issues repeatedly.
And I would just say I'm sorry, is it okay I feel like we're arguing with each other. I'll just say people frequently, regularly, consistently make repairs to concrete porches with concrete. That is the standard process. We approve it on a regular basis, and we do not see those applicants coming back on a recurring basis to make new repairs. If you have a qualified professional that knows what they're doing and that knows what the condition of the porch is, then concrete is the appropriate treatment if installed correctly. Gluing tile to the porch is not a superior method of repair to appropriate concrete installation.
I believe that regardless of who installs it, even if a professional does install it, the fact of the matter is pouring new concrete on top of old concrete is not going to adhere appropriately. It is not viable long-term, the way that this adhesive is. So that's all I'll have to say, I guess, on the porch bit of it. I guess I also would like to point out that understanding that they want you to continue using those same materials, even if not as effective, there are many tile porches throughout historic districts that are approved. I understand that even if it kind of goes with how the home is or the design of it, there are plenty of tile porches. I know throughout Crown Heights, which I walk around frequently, there are plenty of tiled porches and front walkway stairs, like you see here, that are it's just an attractive addition to the front porch. And it's not a foreign material to use on porches, obviously, because it is contemplated in those guidelines. So with that, I will leave the porch piece of it alone. Did you have anything else to add to the guideline piece?
Real quick. The idea that City Council adopts this doesn't make it have the effect of law. City Council also adopted the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan is a guide. It doesn't have the effect of law. This isn't passed by ordinance. These are guidelines, nothing more, guidelines. So I think, on balance, if you look at this compared to the rest of the street, the method that they chose for this front porch was a method of preserving the front porch. So we would ask that you reverse the decision or modify the decision with portions of it that you see fit to be able to remain.
Two in favor and one against.
Anything else from the board?
Real quickly, because I wasn't here for the September 21st meeting.
Yeah.
If it is denied, what would happen at this point with the property?
So if the HP decision were affirmed, then they would essentially have to rip out all of the work that they've done, or we would appeal it to district court.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else from the board? Questions, comments?
One question. What is concrete an allowable landscape border?
List allowed, not allowed landscape materials. Let me find what that wording actually is. It says landscape elements such as stone or masonry edging for raised planting beds shall not exceed 18 inches in height and shall match or complement the design, scale, and details of such elements historically found within the district. I think most of us would agree this is not a material or a design that is found historically within the district. Concrete is used throughout the district. We don't typically see it as a landscape bed edging or creating the landscape beds along the front sidewalk. But it doesn't say explicitly concrete is prohibited.
And again, that was one piece of it that was approved with that condition at HP.
It was approved at HP with the
The-
condition that it tied back in?
Correct.
Okay.
And that we submit a site plan to show how it would be tapered off. And again, that the front border along that gravel that continues down, I mean, it really is just the continuation of that landscape bed to provide site lighting. and walkway lighting rather than addition to the sidewalk.
So with these changes to this, would it still be listed as a historic site?
Yeah,
perhaps?
we're not seeking to get out of that HL historic overlay. It would still be considered in the Jefferson Park HL overlay district.
Okay.
Unless we sought to rezone and get it out of that district. But as of right now, it would continue to be there.
So I'm reading section, at least in the staff report 2.3.6. And the latter part of that paragraph says, if new concrete does not replace an existing concrete and is not adjacent to any existing concrete, it should have an aged appearance in color and finish. New concrete visible from the public right-of-way shall not be white in color. Is that white? Is that considered white? To me, that does not look like it's aged, like it should be.
It is newer. It'll fade over time, but whenever you do first pour concrete, it's going to be that brighter color that softens and kind of gets dirtier over time.
I'm not a concrete expert. Is there a way to age a concrete when it's poured?
Artificially age the concrete or to tint the concrete so that it blends in better with the historic concrete. Some of those are more effective than others. Some people do choose to just give it some time and let it age and get dirty and be used and that sort of thing. And HP doesn't require a specific treatment for how to age that concrete, but we do want to see it over time acquire that patina.
Is there a certain time frame from which, at least from this picture here, that we can expect it to blend in with the remaining concrete?
A CA is good for a year, so we usually tell people kind of within a year we want to see that it's not bright white. I can see it from outer space, new concrete. In a location like, on a driveway, that concrete will age very quickly because it's being driven on every day. In a location like this, maybe not as rapidly because presumably people aren't walking on it, but it's going to get mud and grass and that sort of thing over time.
And I'll say if the color is something that is like the main concern there, that's definitely something that I believe the applicant would be able to deal with sooner rather than just letting it, decrease in that bright white color over time. We could speed that process along.
Do we have anything else from the board? Nobody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody who wants to address the board on this application?
I guess that is one last thing I would like to note is there have been no protests and no concerns by any neighbors at HP or of course at the previous meeting and none here today.
Anything else from the board?
If we choose to make a modification to the application, are we just negotiating that out right here, right now?
Sort of.
I'm ready for it. Let's hear what you got.
I mean, from my point of view, I'd be a no on the porch and the stairs. The tile has to go. It's just, to me, it'd be too much over the top, but I could deal with everything else.
And I echo what you're saying because that's exactly what I was thinking about, that pattern and the tile and stuff. And after hearing that, if you can do something different with it.
With the porch. Mm-hmm. I mean, it would, again, just be pouring concrete over top, which...
Well...
Yeah, I would rather them see it. I mean, I know that they could just take it off and repour the whole thing instead of just applying an overlay to it, but just to make it more consistent with the other houses.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. And my understanding is we've got 4 items
Correct.
in this appeal.
Yes.
Okay. Numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 on staff report. Okay.
So 3 of which do pertain to the concrete border, and then the last one is gonna be the tile over the porch and the front stairway to the porch.
Okay.
What's the surface on those landings on top of the steps? What's that? Is that a solid colored tile?
Yes.
Okay. Would have been nice if they would have done the whole porch like that. I think that would have been okay for me.
Rather than the patterned
Yeah.
tile, but not as much of a concern with that material, more so how it looks from the right of
Absolutely,
way.
because that would seem more in line with what's currently throughout the neighborhood. And it looks closer to a concrete.
Anybody else comments? And it's also my understanding that, from my standpoint, I'm in line with number 4, the tile overlay. I think that's done wrong. HP got it right. The other 3 I'd reverse. So I apologize for last time. I didn't suggest that we break this out into separate motions. So if somebody wants to try that,
Maybe take it one piece at a time.
yeah.
So colleagues to the left, since I was not here, would you please break that down and we can go from there?
I will try to put a motion forward, make a motion to modify case number 15458, allowing for items, what are the items? What do I do with them? 1, 2, and 3, and removing item 4.
Okay.
Allowing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
You didn't appeal 5 through 10, did you?
Right. No, that was
Okay.
just, that's part of their case, okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, those have already been dealt with.
So, change that, make motion to modify case number 15458, modifying it to allowing the concrete border at the flower bed, allowing the concrete border on the front sidewalk, allowing the concrete border on either side of the stairs, and removing the tile overlay.
I would like the aging to be accelerated, or see what we can do as far as the aging of the concrete stuff.
And then adding to age the concrete to match existing.
Okay, that's a motion if somebody wrote it down. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay,
I was just gonna say, before the next motion regarding the tile, would it be potentially, or a motion made potentially on allowing that tile material, but with it being a solid neutral color to kind of tie into other homes on that street? If,
I just, and I'm gonna tell you from my point of view, if you gotta take that tile off, you're gonna break out some more concrete, I would just rather see them replace it with new concrete, matching
no
everybody
tile
else.
whatsoever. Even if the new tile, again, were neutral, just to kind of keep that newer concrete in place better?
I think replacing it would be best.
okay, that's a lengthy motion, but I got it. So, and we do have a second, okay. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Cast your votes when you can.
Hasn't changed. Mine hasn't changed.
Can you say the voice vote?
Yeah, because mine has not changed.
Go back to computer on your, okay.
So I need to, oh, excuse me. Damn it. I'm cussing.
Thank you. Hey, did we see that?
Yeah, they can.
4-0, okay. Okay. You're modified.
It's another option, huh? Approved, denied, modified.
That couple the home,
That's where I was going last time. I worded it
that's the
poorly.
homeowner.
Yeah, we're ready for the next one.
Item number 3, case number 15465, a request of Corey Floyd on behalf of Oklahoma Realty LLC for a variance to sign regulations and landscape located in 339 West I-240 Service Road.
Corey Floyd, 3211 McKnight Crossing. May it please the board, staff, Madam Clerk. My client is a Kia dealership located at I-240 and South Walker Road. That dealership bears a sign. I've presented a photo of it in our application. And the manufacturer, Kia, has now changed their branding. And so the photo there of the Kia oval sign is no longer Kia's most current branding. And page 7 of our application is now Kia's current branding, which is a different font and different style and different color. The two variances that are sought are from, first, the square footage of the sign, which is limited to 200 square feet, the monument proposed, which I believe is page 7 of the board packet. Or not? Is a 300 square foot black and silver face bearing a smaller Kia logo on it. Perhaps it's not page 7.
This one?
Yes,
Does
sir.
that look right?
Yes, sir. I hope
Okay.
you all have it in front of you.
It's in my packet.
And the logo on that
Can't even,
sign, described as a monolith, is not 300 square feet, but the total face measured is 300 square feet, which is a 100 square foot excess of the 200 square foot minimum. The second variance sought is for landscaping. If you would please scroll forward one page, I've presented a photo of the island where this sign will be stationed. And it's a very small piece of dirt there. We propose to fill that piece of dirt with all the landscaping we can fit into it, but we don't believe we'll be able to meet the point score, being that it is a very small piece of dirt situated between parking spaces on two sides and a sidewalk on the third. And so these are the two variances sought. We have addressed the statutory standards in our submission. I'm happy to walk through those if you think it would be beneficial in any way, but I ask that the court approve these two variances so that we can update this signage to current branding for our car dealership.
Questions, comments from the board?
Is there anyone here? Speak on it?
Nobody signed up.
What was the point minimum on the landscaping? Do you remember?
I don't know what our ultimate landscaping plan will add up to in the points. I spent some time studying this and reviewing the point scores, and where I landed is that it'll be difficult for us to place trees, which give us the highest point scoring because of the nature of the sign and the location. It's going to have to be something that is both able to survive weather conditions as well as sort of be aesthetically pleasing. And so I can't give you the number off the top of my head, but I will tell you that our plan is to fill that turf area instead of with grass with aesthetically pleasing shrubbery.
How many feet shortage would you be as far as filling it?
I'm sorry, I had a hard time.
How many feet shortage would you be as far as filling that space? So if it's asking you to fill it by 10 square feet or how many that's designated, how many square feet would you be short of that number?
On the landscaping, it's a point system.
Points, how many would you be short?
I think our requirement is 100. I'd have to go back and refer to my notes, but we'll be substantially short. What we propose is because the base of the sign is 10 feet on each side, and then the measurement is approximately 3 feet on the end to do a shrubbery that extends around both ends and then, of course, both sides. The picture of it now, I don't know if we can scroll to that, is just, I think it would be instructive. One more forward, please.
And I'll say, I don't have any problem with the sign itself and creating the new logo in the base. I just think the same thing, thinking the same lines, along the same lines as you are, with just filling that area with as much shrub as you can. And
I did submit a photo with my packet of the small area of that island, and the variance sought is just so that we can replace that with shrubbery. I don't know that it will extend all the way to the sidewalk. When I refer to the island, I mean the sort of the
actual island.
indention portion there, so.
That's a very small space.
It is, and, you know, to put something in there that's sort of weather tolerant when it doesn't have great access to water
Yeah.
next to the access road, it's just, it will be a struggle, but I assure you, my clients want to have an aesthetically pleasing business.
And I believe every point had to be within 10 feet of the sign anyway, so you have to put it in a pretty small area.
Yeah, that's why I was asking how many feet was it in between with that space showing. I know it wasn't that much that he can give up. So I'm good.
The sign proposed is wider than the shroud that is currently there, so that place will shrink. I'm going to estimate it's 3 feet on either side of the current sign, and that will shrink to something like 2 feet when we're
Yeah.
concluded.
Yeah.
Anything else from the board? I don't have anybody signed up to speak, so anybody wants to address us on this application? Okay, I think we're ready for a motion.
Motion to approve case number 15465 for the purposes that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. You're approved.
Thank you very much.
Item number 4, case number 15463 is a request of Tracy Deal on behalf of DSP Holdings for a variance to sign regulations at 601 West I-240 Service Road.
Good afternoon. My name is Melanie Dietrich, 614 Southwest 74th Street. I'm here on behalf of DSP Holdings as well as Davis Saling Mitsubishi. This variance is for a similar to the prior applicant, a monolith sign, which is a Mitsubishi branding requirement that we are trying to meet. This is a type of sign which, as you can probably assume or understand, is now common in the auto industry, and it's something that Mitsubishi requires for its national brand recognition. I would also point out that this property itself sits below the highway, so it's even more difficult to see the business there. So a monolith sign, not only for brand recognition, but also for visibility to the motorists that are driving by. And, you know, there are, even our next door neighbor there is Bob Howard Hyundai, and they have a similar monolith sign. So we just want to be adequately represented amongst our competitors and up to Mitsubishi's branding requirements.
Okay, questions from the board?
Is there a landscape requirement on this one?
No.
I don't have any problem with the sign. I think fourth or fifth car sign on 240 that we've had in the last few weeks.
Yeah. Okay, I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. If anybody wants to address us? Okay, I think we're ready for a motion.
Motion to approve case number 15463 for the purposes that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your votes.
Thank you.
Okay, you're approved.
Item number 6, case number 15449 is a request, I'm sorry. Item number 5, case number 15466, a request of Robert Dell on behalf of OK Lone Oak Land LLC for a variance to sign regulations located at 3916 Northwest 164th Street.
Give us your name and address and tell us about your application.
Good
please.
afternoon, I'm Bob Dale at 9810 East 55th Street in Tulsa. And I'm speaking on behalf of Deer Creek Apartments, Homes, and Encino Signs. And do we have protests? Do we have objectors today?
Nobody signed up on this one.
But there was one submitted.
Yeah,
The neighborhood to the
Yeah,
north.
we were concerned about, I'm going to take just a little bit of time, promise,
right.
to tell you why we need you. But I was also expressing concern about the neighbors, and that we want to make sure that they are on board, that they understand, what we're doing, for signs on this property. The property at Deer Creek is different than a lot of the R4 properties throughout the city. You've got something like 5,200 available apartments in the city of Oklahoma City, 450 properties. It's averages about 12 apartments per complex. I know there's some bigger complexes out there. This one has 325 units. It's got over 700 feet of street front. It's just not your normal R4. The zoning requirements on an R4 puts this in the same category as a 35-unit building. And it doesn't work. We are set back 90 feet from the center line on the street. We're physically down in the hill. And to get proper exposure, there was really two things. We needed a bigger sign, something that better fits the use and this property. And also we wanted to be able to reach more towards the intersection. And to do that, we needed a triangular type sign, or a V-shaped sign. And so we're asking the board to help us with would just to come up with a approval where we can have a sign that's better suited size-wise to this property. I was brought this, and it wasn't part of the package. Can I hand things to the board?
Yeah.
I was doing some thinking. I was just going to put this in perspective. With the Princeton Park, which is a neighborhood across the street, they actually have an entry sign. And if you look at the two, I just put ours against, to kind of do a comparison with the two. And it's a little surprising. Sizes sound scary on paper. The signs sound bigger, but in reality, when you're out on the street, they're not nearly so much. That sign with Princeton is 9 feet tall and over 32 feet long. And if you looked at the square footage on that, it's a little surprising. It's 223 square feet, and there's two of them. You'd have over 400 square feet of signage on the entry to that neighborhood. And my question would be, is that too big? It depends on how it's placed. I can tell you the second page shows you what it looks like in reality. And if it's placed in the environment properly, it works. And I think it's a good-looking sign. In contrast with our sign, this sign, if you look at it, the corner of the sign's within 10 feet of the curb. So it's close to the street. We are minimum of 70 feet from the street. And our sign is, if you took all the square footage per side, we're at about 126 square feet. And so I guess what I'm saying is we're, with the folks in the neighborhood might not understand what they have and how signs lay out. I think their sign is great. I think it's a very successful sign. What I would hope for would be just the consideration to our sign. Really, we're not asking for too much. We're not asking for a giant sign. And with that setback, it's going to be an adequate sign. The picture that we've got up here, the original PUD plan showed two logos on the buildings on the end. And we were asking at the same time that we would, because the ordinance only allows for one sign, we would like to be able to do what was originally intended and have logos on the ends of the two buildings. And I just put all the buildings on a sheet just so you could get an idea of what we're really doing with signs on these walls. It's just two tiny spots on a very large complex. Yeah, that's you right there. And the site plan shows the layout of the two wall signs and the monument sign. And if we could go to that. There you go. Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is we're really not shooting for the moon. We're trying to find something that will work, that'll be readable. And it's low-key. It blends with the architecture of the buildings and the colors. No flashy lights, no craziness. Just tells people you're at the right place.
So I'm okay with it because I just read what the planning department's review revealed. I was saying I'm okay with it because I just read what the planning department's review was on it. And I don't see any problems with it where it's, you're wanting to put them, it's not gonna be a distraction of anything, so it's not gonna create a problem.
Yeah, and like I said, on this one, you'll get a glow around the letters. That is a opaque, that's a stuccoed background on that. It will not light up at night. All you will have will be the letters light, the logo lights, and the glow around the edge of the letters. So it's discreet.
So the two buildings that have the signage on the buildings are the two very north buildings?
I'm sorry.
The two buildings that have the signage on the buildings?
Yeah.
It's just the two buildings on the
Yeah.
north side?
Yeah, just the two on the one side.
And it's just the north ends of those buildings?
Yes, yes, sir.
It shouldn't create a problem.
You know, for the size of that complex, this is very minimalistic.
And then the monument sign is located how many feet from the street right away?
From the driveway,
From the street right away?
from the street
How
right
far
away.
back?
I've shown it at 90 feet from the center line. I would suspect it's gonna be 70 feet, maybe even 80 feet, if the tooling.
Okay, I mean, it looks good, the architectural style looks good, ties to the buildings, so
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, hang on just a minute, we'll get to you. Okay, any questions, comments from the board to the applicant?
Just
Okay,
Hear from her.
now it's your turn.
I think most
Would
of
you give
our,
us your name and address?
my name is Glenda Coors. I'm at 3921 Northwest 167th Terrace
Okay.
in the Princeton Park neighborhood, representing our homeowners association. I think the main concerns, and sorry it was last minute when all this came up to me and I said I would be willing to come up, is why they're not willing to use the guidelines that the city has put in place for the signs. And also, they have an entrance on the service road that lines up with Portland, where he acts like they would want their viewing because they're wanting, why are they not wanting to focus more on that entrance versus the entrance right across the street from our neighborhood? And to be honest, I mean, I wasn't aware of what all it was going to entail with this sign. We just got a notice that, hey, we're wanting to put in a sign that doesn't match up with the city guidelines right across the street from your neighborhood. What do you think? You know, and you're just like, okay. And lots of the neighbors have came to talk about it, and also that they kind of were concerned. And also, even with just the construction going on, the traffic has been awful. And if they're worried about that for their kids, the school buses, because they pick up right there, I mean, is another concern that they have. I don't know if we need to worry about that right now or if we're just focusing on the signs.
Sign only today.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything from the board for the,
No, I'd like for you to answer the question on why nothing on the service road.
Well, primarily because there's two kinds of signs. One's going to be an advertising sign, and one is an identification sign. And what we're doing here is we're identifying the property of where it's most used. If we wanted to try and put a, you know, you can't do it, but I'm just saying for a description, put a billboard over there that reaches a street like Portland that's going to be hundreds of feet away, then that would be an option. But that's really not their main entry. Their entry is going to be,
Off 164?
yeah.
Okay, and you might also give Mrs. Coors a copy of this so she can see the dimensions.
Which one's that?
The
Oh, I
sheet that you-
did.
Okay, yes, she has that, okay.
He just handed that to me.
Yeah, you know, in your sign, like I said, your sign is very big, but it doesn't feel big, if you know what I mean. It looks nice, it fits the environment.
So how much further is your sign going to be back? Because you keep saying your sign's going to be quite a bit off the road. How much farther from the sign that we have for our neighborhood, is your sign going to be further?
Almost 10 times farther back than where yours is.
Okay,
It's a long ways back.
Yeah, so he's probably 70 foot behind the curb, and you're 10.
okay,
So it is back there. And something else about the signs. So the sign itself, where it says Deer Creek Apartment and Homes, that's not that very big. It's all the aesthetics with the sign, and that goes into that measurement that the city has. And so that's why sometimes they bring the variances to us, because their signs are bigger than what is allowed, but it's mostly not the sign, it's mostly the architectural part of the sign.
okay.
And I promise you, it's going to be a beautiful sign. And because we're putting those architectural features into it, it bumps up the square footage. But in real signage, it's really not much. Your letters are 22 inches tall.
Okay,
Their letters are 14
okay,
and 6. So it's, put both lines together, they're still smaller than yours. So it just, it's, like I said, we're not overreaching here.
okay. And I know you're from Tulsa, so
Right.
you don't see it
It's
every
90
day.
feet
I
from
mean,
center
But-
line.
oh.
we all are there, visual and
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, I wouldn't
You're
want this-
having a visual from Tulsa,
wouldn't want that-
Oklahoma versus.
Let's address the board, not each
I'm
other,
sorry.
so, and
I'm
one
sorry.
at a time.
Okay.
So, ma'am, go ahead, you're up.
Okay, thank you for helping me understand, and I appreciate you, Mr. Noble, for explaining it to me, and I will take this back to my people with concerns.
Thank you. Okay, anything else from? Okay, nobody else signed up to speak. Anybody else want to address the board on this one? Okay, I think we're ready.
Can
for-
I say one thing?
Well,
is-
you might want to wait and see how it's going to go. I'm not telling you what to do.
All right.
I think we're
won't
ready
kill
for a
myself.
motion.
We are definitely ready. So I move that we approve case number 15466 for a variance on the grounds that it meets the requirements of a variance.
Oh, no, I mean,
Oh, I jumped too quickly.
yeah, I'll second.
Okay. There
Sorry
we
about
go.
that, Kitty.
Motion and a second. Cast your votes. There you go, you're approved.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Item number 6, case number 15449, a request of Lori Arbuckle on behalf of Donald Arbuckle for service building, hard surface parking, and bathroom facility requirements for an RV park in AA Agricultural located at 1337 Northeast 150th Street.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Lori Arbuckle, and we have I'm representing Nestled Oaks and Donnie Arbuckle, which is my husband. We own the property, and we own the Nestled Oaks RV park that's there. I did not know that we had slideshow. I didn't know. Can I give you guys a little bit of paperwork? Is it kind of like packets, but. And I'll try to be quick. We're filing for 2 variances on the RV park right now. We're in the middle of getting a special exemption, and in part of that special exemption, we're required, well, let me just do them one at a time. On that, let's see, that second page there is a picture that shows our RV park. It has 13 units, and that is as big as it'll ever get. We're not gonna build it out any more than that. It's just kind of, it's on our property. We have 14 acres, and it is kind of hidden back in this serene rural setting. We offer residents a peaceful and tranquil living environment, and unlike many traditional RV parks catering to short-term visitors, we are long-term residential park, fostering a sense of permanency and close-knit community. Each RV unit at Nestled Oaks is equipped with self-contained bathroom and shower facilities, providing residents with privacy and convenience, making it a true home away from home. We are committed to responsible land use and sustainability. with well-maintained gravel-coated surfaces that promote effective drainage, reduce environmental impact, and complement the natural beauty of the surrounding courtside. Our little RV community actively engages in community activities such as gardening and mutual support, fostering a sense of belonging. Our diverse community includes retired veterans, individuals who have overcome challenges in the Oklahoma City bombing, and retirees from various backgrounds, contributing to a rich and inclusive atmosphere. Furthermore, Nestled Oaks Park positively impacts the local economy by supporting businesses and services in Jones, Oklahoma. We are requesting a variance for, let's see, let me get the right wording. Chapter 31, Section 119 concerning the service building, and Chapter 31, Section 120 concerning the bathroom facilities. Let's see that applying the ordinance's bathroom shower facility requirement would create an unnecessary hardship for Nestled Oaks RV Park. Our community is designed for long-term residency, and each RV unit is equipped with self-contained bathroom shower facilities. We believe Nestled Oaks Park's conditions are unique to our property. Each RV unit is designed to provide residents with a comfortable, self-sufficient, a private living experience meeting or exceeding statutory requirements. Granting this variance will not cause any substantial detriment to the public good. Our residents value privacy and convenience of their individual amenities, and the absence of communal facility has not negatively impacted the area. The variance requested represents the minimum necessary to alleviate the unnecessary hardship, preserving the unique character of Nestled Oaks RV Park. The second, I think it's on page 4. The second variance we are filing for is Chapter 13, Section 114 concerning the recreational vehicle spaces, and Chapter 31, Section 116 concerning the parking facilities. We're applying for the ordinance paved hard surface requirements to our well-maintained gravel-coated surfaces would create an unnecessary hardship. Paving these surfaces would be ecologically disruptive and financially impractical. Our gravel-coated surfaces are essential to the rustic charm of Nestled Oaks RV Park, thoughtfully designed to enhance the natural beauty of the countryside. Granting this variance will not cause any substantial detriment to the public good or existing gravel-coated surfaces exhibit effective drain. Our existing gravel-coated, surfaces exhibit effective draining practices and align with responsible land use. The variance requested is the minimum necessary to alleviate the unnecessary hardship while preserving the environmental and aesthetic goals of Nestled Oaks RV Park. Behind there, there's a few pictures of some other RV parks that are in Oklahoma City in this little packet here. I think it's about three or more different RV parks that are actually in the city of Oklahoma City. We're on the outskirts. We're in Jones, Oklahoma. We're in the woods, basically, if you can see, right off the highway. And but these pictures show other RV parks within the city limits that actually use gravel on all of their spots and their roads and everything. And it aesthetically works for them, and it's been accepted before. It's embraced by other RV parks in the Oklahoma City area. It's a choice that not only complements the rustic charm of our region, but also aligns with responsible land use and drainage management. Our approach is in harmony with the broader community and regional standards. By sharing these images, I hope to demonstrate that Nestled Oaks RV Park use of gravel is not unique, but rather a thoughtful and practical choice that resonates with local environment and community. Page 5, 6, where are we? Yeah, let's see. the sustainability efforts, Nestled Oaks RV Park is committed to responsible land use practices. Our well-maintained gravel-coated surfaces are not only aesthetically pleasing, but also environmentally responsible. They promote effective drainage and minimize the environmental impact on our rural setting. Our community actively manages its resources, including water and energy, to minimize waste and promote sustainability. Residents take pride in adopting eco-friendly practices within their living spaces. Nestled Oaks RV Park has fostered a close-knit community where residents support each other like family. This sense of belonging promotes a positive living environment and emotional well-being. Our residents actively engage in communal activities such as gardening projects, neighborhood cleanup efforts, and social gatherings. These activities strengthen the bonds within our community and promote a sense of shared responsibility. We take pride in supporting local businesses in Jones, Oklahoma. By promoting commerce within the area, we contribute to the economic well-being of the local community. On the page, I think it's 6, the last one, you'll see some of our residents' testimonies. And I would like you to consider these variances today and like to draw your attention to their voices that matter most, which is our residents. You've heard from me that our unique character of Nestled Oaks RV Park, but I believe it's equally important to hear directly from those who call this community home. Our residents, including retired veterans and individuals who have overcome challenges and retirees from various backgrounds, have shared their experiences and feelings about Nestled Oaks. Their testimonies reflect not only the beauty of our community, but also the positive impact that it is on their lives. Their stories are just a testament to the strong sense of belonging, support, and camaraderie that Nestled Oaks fosters. It's a community where people come together, where friendships are formed, and where residents actively contribute to its well-being. We take immense pride in our residents, their stories, and sense of community they've built. I encourage you to consider not just the practical aspects of this variance request, but also the very real human element, the lives, experience, and well-being of our residents who are the heart and soul of Nestled Oaks. In conclusion, granting these variances of Nestled Oaks RV Park will support sustainable living, environmental stewardship, and unique character of our community. Our residents who are retired veterans and individuals who have overcome challenges have created a close-knit community that takes pride in their home. We believe that these variants align with the city's goals of responsible land and environmental sustainability. We respectfully request the consideration of our case and are prepared to address any questions or concerns that you may have. And thank you for your time and attention.
Okay, questions, comments from the board?
For any questions, is there anyone else here to speak on this case?
I didn't have anybody signed up. Anybody want to address the board on this application?
I wanted to say that this particular case, for the use of this RV park, a special exception is required. And there was a code complaint that went out, and so that's what brought it to our attention. Then you filed, and then you were filing for a variance for these. This is what you cannot meet for the variance, but you still have to come back for a special exception.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to interrupt.
No, I understand. I think that we would want to notice these together, but I know that you wanted to come forth and get the temperature of the board to see.
We filed for the special exemption first, and it was put in limbo based on the building permits, and something else had to be filed first. And so in this process, that's when these variances came up. So we're just trying to get that first level approved first, and then the special exemption comes in. We've already filed the paperwork for the special exemption and paid the fee. We've gone back now and filed it with the building permit and paid all the fees and everything, and that's kind of where we're at. They won't allow the special exemption without this part first.
And it's the same board. We
Yeah.
review the special exception,
Gotcha.
so.
How
Cindy,
could
just
we
to
get
help
it
me,
together?
just to help me, so the special exception is to operate an RV park in AA?
Yes.
'Cause So there is a
these-
way they can operate this RV park zoned AA? I'm gonna ask Sarah.
Yeah, with the special exception.
Okay.
So they did this part, the variances are part of the special exception requirements. However, they're noticed differently, so it needed to have a special exception noticed and the variance to the code that she's not meeting.
And Sarah Welch, I'll just add to that, that for the special exception, there are 8 specific conditions in the AA district. One of them is that they meet Chapter 31. So they're here to try to get a variance to that condition so the special exception can move forward.
Okay, and
Can you help me with chapter 31?
Not very much.
Okay, sorry.
it looks to me like there is, for each RV space, there's at least one parking space.
Yes.
Okay, so that's
Actually,
not a
actually-
requested variance, because you already meet that.
Yeah, it's
Did I get
mainly
that
the
right?
gravel-coated pavement.
Gotcha.
That's what we're trying to get the
Okay.
variance for, yeah.
Okay.
I thought you were asking for 2 separate variances today.
We are, one is for the bathroom facilities. It's Chapter 31, Section 119, concerning the service building, and then Chapter 31, Section 120. It's asking us to put in 4 showers and 4 for each male or female.
Yes.
And that's where every unit that lives, every person that lives there has their own bathroom facilities.
Yeah, and I read all of that. So basically, you're just asking us to approve of it based on the fact that yours is long-term,
Yeah,
that you do
they're
have a
long-term.
gravel parking space, and that each one of the residents, they have their own bathroom facilities in their RV.
Yes. they
Okay,
do.
I understand.
And we're on septic out there. We have several, the septic's all been approved and all of that, and, yeah, we're just trying not to do that, because it would be irrelevant. They wouldn't utilize that at all.
So each of these units, each of these locations have septic?
No, we have 2 large septics on the
think
property
so.
that they go into. They're all like, I'm not a construction person, but like all the plumbing and everything's been done from each RV space down into the septic. That makes sense, yeah. They all have
they
their
all
own
have
electric.
service.
They're gonna
Yeah.
come back with a special exception.
Shoot, I wish I had a picture, but yeah,
With the
each
building
unit has its
permit,
own
they have special exception.
facilities there to hook up to.
Okay.
And
So is it a requirement in order to, if you are renting a space long-term, that they have an RV that's capable of plugging into the existing septic? Is that a requirement for the RV?
yeah, they have to have septic.
Because I drove
or
through
sewer.
there yesterday, just looking at it,
Yeah.
and I did see some ground tanks underneath some of those. So that's why I was wondering
Yeah.
if they were using the ground tank or had
No.
sewer service.
No, they all hook up to that orange septic there. They have a hose that comes out from their RV and hooks into that orange spout on the top of by the electrical outlet or electric box. My husband, who's here, Donnie Arbuckle, he can probably speak on the construction of it a lot better than I can, if you'd like to speak with him.
How long have your
Yeah.
business been up?
We started it during COVID. It actually had existing mobile homes there before. And so we actually opened up, I believe, last year in June, and he installed it because some of his friends lived out at the lake, they're veterans, and he worked there. Well, he traveled a lot, so he's a lineman, he works in fleet and stuff, and he met a lot of guys out there, and they're actually living out here, and they have to move every 2 weeks, and he's like, this is ridiculous, this is where they're trying to live and have a house, and so that's kind of where this sprouted from, these friends, and they all know each other for the most part, which is irrelevant, I know, but that was the meaning behind all of this, and we have 13 spots, and that's all it's gonna be.
I totally.
Okay.
Do you live on the property?
Yes. Yep. If you can see right there, you can see the little RV park. Our house is right there in the middle. Right there, yep, that's our house. And that little white building is the well house. And we have a shop there and a little barn. So yeah, we live on the property.
Anything else from the board? Nobody signed up to speak on this one. Anybody want to address the board on this application? Okay. Guess we're ready for a motion then.
I'd like to move approval of case number 15449 for a variance under Chapter 31-119 Service Building, Chapter 31-1-20 for bathroom facilities requirements on the grounds that it meets the statutory requirements for a variance.
What about the parking and the gravel?
Was that one of the ones she asked for as well?
Yeah,
Okay, and also Chapter 31-116.
and the gravel's 114.
114, thank you very much. Chapter 31-114 as well.
Should we not condition that she has to come back for a special exception?
Excuse me, on the condition that you return for a special exception.
Absolutely.
Okay. Got
I'll
a motion?
second.
Do we have a second? Got a motion and a second. Cast your votes.
Thank you so much.
Well,
Nope.
No, no, you had two.
3-1.
oh, okay. I saw 2 red marks. Okay, never mind, you're approved.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Did something change? Because I saw two also.
What's that?
Okay, we're good.
Oh, no, I think mine was a pass. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we have item number 7, case number 15464, request of Williams Box Forestry and Bullard on behalf of OnQ for a variance to the temporary moratorium on the acceptance of new applications for freestanding signs located at 7900 Broadway Extension.
Good afternoon, David Box, 522 Colcord Drive. Here on behalf of OnQ, but also the Half Development. So this application is a bit unique in that we are seeking a variance, but we're not seeking a variance to allow something specific. What we're seeking a variance from today is the moratorium. The moratorium limits the size of the sign to 200 square feet. So we're not seeking any variance as it relates to height. And why I say it's unique is that what we're asking you today to do is to grant us a variance to the moratorium to allow our PUD application that's already filed to move forward so that Mr. Noble and his colleagues at Planning Commission can weigh in on what size sign is appropriate, then ultimately City Council. So we have, if you're familiar with the half is where Chicken Pickle is and all those wonderful retail and restaurant shops that we have up there. They're expanding, and part of that expansion, we're going to have a new OnQ at the corner right there. So the moratorium currently limits the size of a sign to 200 square feet. So why I think it's a bit unique, Mark is just doing a fantastic job holding these signs. So if you look at the OnQ sign in particular, okay, what we're proposing is a pole sign and the traditional OnQ logo, and then what you expect to see with gas stations would be a fuel reader telling you the price. So that is 132 square feet more than what the moratorium allows. However, it's zoned right now in a manner where we could just have 2 50-foot signs with one, the independent OnQ sign, and then another 50-foot pole sign with the 132 square foot sign. That's a worse result in our opinion. So the consolidation of signs, yes, it is more than 200 square feet, but I think what staff would tell you is this is a better approach to signage to consolidate. And to that point, part of the PUD process, when we go through Planning Commission, staff will weigh in on our document asking for proposed revisions to certain things. The signage proposed within the PUD, staff is comfortable with. I'll take Sarah's nod as an acknowledgement, and they have not proposed any modification to the size of our sign. But we can't, staff cannot process the application without a variance to the moratorium. The other one that's greater than the 200 square feet is the half signage. So if you've driven on 235, you've seen the signage. Again, it's the same type of argument. We believe this is an attractive design. It is consistent with the brand that they have. So what the moratorium would have us do is just have a series of pole signs with each individual tenant getting 200 square feet, which would create sign clutter and frankly be a distraction along 235. We think consolidation of signs in an attractive manner is what the sign code, the comp plan, and all of those planning documents strive to achieve. If you think about why the moratorium came about, it was really geared towards billboards. There were several new billboards that were approved. One particular company in the market raised enough problems and some independent litigation with the city sign code was going on that the city council deemed it appropriate to issue a moratorium. The language of the moratorium is broad enough to where it impacts accessory signs, but the reason that the city council went forward, it was really about billboards, not consolidating accessory signs. So again, maybe the signage size we've shown you here is ultimately deemed by Planning Commission and City Council to be too large, but in order to be able to have those conversations with those bodies, we have to get a variance to the moratorium. So that's what we're asking you to do today.
Questions from the board? Okay, nobody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody in the audience wants to address us on this application? Okay. If the board doesn't have anything, I guess we're ready for a motion.
Motion to approve case number 15464 for the purposes that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
Okay, got a motion and 2 seconds. It's all right.
Thank you. Mark reminded me, I was going to read you the definition of variance, but since we're already through.
Item number 8, case number 15467, a request of Dwight Lawson on behalf of the zoo for a variance to front yard setback regulations for an existing well house located at 4202 North Martin Luther King Avenue.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Dwight Lawson, Executive Director at the Zoo, 2000 Remington Place. I think this agenda item and the next one pertain to 2 wells that are operated by the zoo located along MLK. We need to do some improvements to the well house infrastructure associated with these. The existing well houses are more than 25 years old, and the way they're configured right now, in addition to needing some infrastructure improvements, they're also confined space, so they're a bit of a safety hazard for the staff servicing them, and it's a logistic issue with having to operate them that way. The wells themselves are located within the setback along MLK, hence the request for the variance. These are operated and have been operated by the zoo for quite a long time, where as a utility under a permit from DEQ. The new structures that we're looking at are designed to be basic, pretty functional, similar to pump houses and other well houses throughout the city, and are sized to be as minimal as possible, and we're hoping that the construction would take about 3 months. Happy to answer any questions.
Anything from the board? Nobody signed up to speak on this one. Does anybody want to address the board? Okay, I think we're ready for a motion.
Motion to approve case number 15467 for the purposes that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
Motion and a second, cast your votes. All right, you're approved.
Thank you.
Item number 9, case number 15468, request of Dwight Lawson on behalf of the OKC Zoo for a variance to front yard setback regulations located at 4950 North Martin Luther King Avenue.
I bet your comments are the same.
Yep, the same. This one is located, I believe, a little further up on MLK. And just FYI, we do have a third well located farther south on MLK, but it's on county property, and they've already issued a variance for that one.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? Nobody signed up? Either you guys want addresses? Okay, we're ready for a motion then.
Motion to approve case number 15468 for the purposes that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested variance.
Okay, motion and a second, cast your votes. All right, you're approved.
Thank you very much.
Item number 10, case number 15455, a renewal application for Doorbell Investments LLC for home sharing located at 2737 Northwest 20th Street.
Afternoon. John Hunsucker for Doorbell Investments, 600 West Sheridan Avenue, Oklahoma City. Yeah, I apologize. Last month we had this missed docket and missed the.
This one's a renewal, okay?
Yes. You granted the exception last year. We've been operating for a year, to our knowledge, with absolutely no complaints or issues. The only issue we've had has actually just been with a neighbor coming over and defecating on our property that we had to resort to a stern letter. That's only been our issue. So.
Questions or comments on this one?
I think my only comment is just, I think we're trying to get a process or at least some sort of standard as to renewals as they're popping up. And you didn't mention anything. Have you had any sort of citations or anyone call out on this property? Any police activity or anything? Okay.
No, we've had absolutely no issues at all with this property.
Okay. As far as renewals, I think that we've been going from 1 year, that initial first year, to a 3-year renewal. So I think that that's one modification that I'm going to be making on that. You mentioned quiet hours, but just to specify a specific time, I'm going to request 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. So those are the only 2 changes that I'm going to make to your modification.
I think that is already in our exception of the 10 to 8, and that's what we use, actually, so.
10 to 8, okay. All right, so I'm just, if we can put that on there, that's great. But otherwise, the 3-year is probably the big one.
Okay, and
just to
that's
let you
fine.
know.
I'd asked for 10 years. I don't know if you're aware, there's actually a $300 a year, $300 renewal fee every time we have to come in. So I was definitely not wanting a 1 year. 3-year would be fine.
Okay. That's all I have.
And I just have one other thing I'd like to see an addition is a four-car maximum at the property at any one time.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's a 2, we actually limit our occupancy to 4 people anyway, 2 couples. We opted not to put in a sofa bed in the living room. It's a 2-bedroom property. We don't want to overuse the property, and so we already limit our occupancy on it.
I just want no off-street parking, and the driveway itself can handle 4 cars, and so a 4-car maximum. Pretty close.
It'd be close. It'd
From
be
the air.
3.
But a 4-car maximum is.
Okay.
Nobody signed up to speak on this one. Do you want to address the board? Nope, not on this one, okay.
No, he's after me, I think, probably, so he doesn't want me to
think
stick
so.
around.
All right, I think we're ready for a motion.
All right, motion to approve case number 15455 for the purposes that it meets the statutory requirements for the renewal of this special exception with the following modifications. This shall be for a term of 3 years. Quiet hours will be specific to 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. and a 4-car maximum.
Motion and a second, cast your votes. You're approved.
Thank you.
Item number 11, case number 15456 is a renewal for Doorbell Investments LLC for home sharing at 1516 Northwest 21st Street.
There's one correction on that. This property is actually not a Doorbell investment property. This is owned by me individually, John Hunsucker, and I'm on here as the applicant, so I'm not sure how that got switched up. Doorbell is a separate company I have a partner with. And the special exception already granted last year was under John Hunsucker.
Okay. Questions on this application? Nobody signed up to speak? So I guess we're ready for a motion.
Okay, I've got the same modifications. Are you wanting to put a same? All right. Motion to approve case number 15456 for the purposes that it meets the statutory requirements for the requested renewal of a special exception for a term of 3 years, quiet hours from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. and a 4-car maximum.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. And you're approved.
Great, thank you.
Item number 12, case number 15461, and a special exception for Stay Properties LLC for home sharing located at 3736 Windscape Avenue.
Kwaku Brown Akwe, 22570 Forester Lane in Edmond, Oklahoma is my address. This is a renovated short-term rental, currently not occupied by anything. So applying for a special exception.
All right. Anything from the board?
New applications are generally approved for a 1-year maximum, so we want to see how the first year goes at this property, so that is one modification. I don't see anything about quiet hours again. I think that you overheard me the first time, quiet hours from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you get to 6 people? You showed 2 rooms. How do we get to 6? Generally,
The living room has a couch that converts. But we can adjust that to 4 if that makes more sense, but
generally we like to stay 2
per room?
2 per room.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. So if there's nothing else from the board, I think we're ready.
I'd like to just make one more point and see about on the application, a 4-car maximum.
Okay, yeah, there's enough room for that.
I think we're ready for a motion.
Motion to approve case number 15461 for the purposes that it meets the statutory requirements for special exceptions with the following modifications. This shall be for a term of 1 year. Quiet hours will be from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. 4-car maximum, and the maximum number of guests is to be 4.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay. Motion is second. Cast your votes. Okay, you're approved. I get it.
Items 13 through 18 have been deferred, so we're at the end of our docket.
Okay, I don't have any additional items. I don't have any communications report. Doesn't look like we have citizens to be heard. I don't have any other business unless, okay, then we're adjourned.